Episode 13, Martin Harris replaced with Oliver Cowdery. Welcome back to Hidden and Distorted History of the Church, where we uncover the lesser-known truths about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormons. My goal is to reveal the authentic historical facts behind the Mormon Church. Recap. In the last episode, we delved into Oliver Cowdery's background and his familial ties to the Smith family prior to his involvement with the Book of Mormon in 1829. This week, we shift our focus to Martin Harris, examining the events and circumstances that led to Oliver Cowdery stepping in as Joseph Smith's scribe. Stay tuned as we uncover the critical factors behind this pivotal transition. Part 1. Martin Harris Legal Issues. In March 1829, Martin Harris returned from Palmyra seeking a greater witness of the golden plates. This request came amid legal troubles for Joseph Smith, as Lucy Harris had filed a court claim against him while he was out of state. With Joseph unavailable, Lucy's frustration turned towards Martin, as previously noted. Fortunately for us, Joseph Smith received a revelation in response to Martin's plea, which was recorded in what was initially known as the Book of Commandments, and later became part of the Doctrine and Covenants. In D&C 5:1-4 we read, "Behold, I say unto you, that as my servant Martin Harris has desired a witness at my hand, that you, my servant Joseph Smith, Jun, have got the plates of which you have testified and borne record that you have received of me. And now behold, this shall you say unto him, He who spake unto you said unto you, I the Lord am God, and have given these things unto you, my servant Joseph Smith, Jun, and have commanded you that you should stand as a witness of these things. And I have caused you that you should enter into a covenant with me, that you should not show them except to those persons to whom I commanded you, and you have no power over them, except I grant it unto you. And you have a gift to translate the plates, and this is the first gift that I bestowed upon you. And I have commanded that you should pretend to no other gift until my purpose is fulfilled in this, for I will grant unto you no other gift until it is finished." Here we see Martin Harris, caught in a difficult situation. With Joseph out of state and unable to be charged, Martin's wife Lucy threatens to take legal action against him. Despite Martin's financial backing and persistent support for Joseph, he is denied the tangible proof he needs to protect himself and instead faced a rebuke from Joseph. This situation raises questions about the convenience of Joseph's stance and the implications for Martin's predicament. As a quick side note, in the original Book of Commandments, Joseph Smith was explicitly given only the gift to translate and was commanded not to claim any other gifts. And he has a gift to translate the book, and I have commanded him that he shall pretend to no other gift, for I will grant him no other gift. Book of Commandments 4:2. However, the revised version in the Doctrine and Covenants suggests that no additional gifts would be granted until the translation was complete, implying a different sequence of events. This discrepancy is crucial and will be significant in understanding the evolution of Joseph Smith's claims and the subsequent revelation. Part 2. Oliver takes over. Another issue with the LDS Church's account of the Cowdery-Smith meeting is its omission of key details. Members are not informed that Cowdery and David Whitmer were already acquainted, as we noted in the last video. Nor are they taught that Cowdery and Samuel Smith stayed at the Whitmer homestead on their way to Harmony. Members are led to believe Cowdery made the trip from Palmyra to Harmony alone, not accompanied by Joseph's younger brother. This omission raises questions about why the connection with Whitmer is downplayed. Is it to obscure the forthcoming significance of Whitmer in this narrative? Following the Martin Harris fiasco with the lost 116 pages and the death of Alvin Smith Jr., Joseph Smith claimed that the power to translate was temporarily taken from him. With this period of translation halted, Joseph needed a new scribe. Oliver Cowdery would be exceptionally efficient in this role. While it took Emma Smith and Martin Harris nearly 3 months to transcribe the 116 pages of the Book of Lehi, Oliver and Joseph Smith managed to produce 531 pages of the Book of Mormon in just 85 days. Some records even suggest the translation took only 60 days, a remarkable speed compared to the previous transcription efforts. A significant portion of the Book of Mormon's narrative parallels the storyline in Ethan Smith's view of the Hebrews, which we briefly touched on earlier and we'll explore in detail in a future video. The argument posits that Joseph Smith might have had access to View of the Hebrews, or at least been aware of its contents. Apologists for the church assert there are no records which indicate that Joseph Smith came into contact with View of the Hebrews during the period he was translating the Book of Mormon. While Smith may not have directly encountered the book, Oliver Cowdery had numerous opportunities to do so. He attended Ethan Smith's church during the period the book was written, and even worked at the printing press where it was published, serving as an assistant typesetter. This raises questions about why Oliver and Joseph seemed to distance themselves from one another before their April 1829 meeting. Fair LDS claims the View of the Hebrews theory was first proposed by I. Woodbridge Riley in 1902, 58 years after the death of the prophet. This assertion is misleading. In reality, Joseph Smith discussed the contents of View of the Hebrews in the Times and Seasons on June 1, 1842. This predates Riley's theory by 60 years, indicating Smith was indeed aware of the book and its contents. Despite Fair's denial of Smith's familiarity with the book, they contradict themselves by acknowledging there was, however, a reference to View of the Hebrews within Joseph Smith's lifetime, but it came from the prophet himself. In an article published in the Times and Seasons on June 1, 1842, Joseph quoted View of the Hebrews in support of the Book of Mormon. Fair also states, the theory that Joseph Smith plagiarized View of the Hebrews was never advanced during his lifetime. The prevailing theory of the day was the Spalding theory. We will delve into the Spalding theory in an upcoming video. Why address this now rather than waiting until after the completion of the Book of Mormon? Understanding this point clarifies why Smith and Cowdery were able to produce the Book of Mormon so rapidly. The View of the Hebrews was not the only potential source. Solomon Spalding's manuscript found, central to the Spalding theory mentioned by Fair, also played a role. Joseph Smith's 1842 reference to View of the Hebrews becomes clearer when we consider that by then, accusations of plagiarism from manuscript found were already circulating. This context reveals why Smith might have preemptively addressed View of the Hebrews. It was a defensive move against growing claims of literary theft. Both Joseph and Oliver attended religious revivals in the New York burned-over district, a hotbed of religious fervor. Although there's no direct evidence of their meeting there, it's plausible they connected and began collaborating during this period. Could it be that before Cowdery arrived to scribe for Joseph, Smith struggled to produce the Book of Mormon from memory or second-hand accounts of View of the Hebrews? With Cowdery, who was familiar with the book and had experience as an assistant typesetter, Joseph might have found the help he needed to finalize the translation. Some speculate that Joseph and Oliver initially collaborated as co-equal partners in creating the Book of Mormon and shaping the church, with Joseph as the seer and Oliver as the teacher. This theory has intrigued scholars and researchers, and we'll explore these dynamics further in upcoming discussions. Part 3. The translation process. 2 days after Cowdery arrived in Harmony, Joseph and Oliver began their translation of the Book of Mormon. The official narrative presented to members and investigators diverges significantly from the historical events. Let's compare both versions. The LDS Church asserts that Joseph Smith used the Urim and Thummim to translate the plates. According to this account, these were the spectacles that accompanied the golden plates, along with the sword of Laban and other artifacts. The official LDS description states, Joseph Smith dictated the translation to scribes, primarily Oliver Cowdery. As Joseph was translating an unknown language, he relied on the Lord's guidance. One way the Lord assisted was by providing physical instruments for translation. Witnesses reported that Joseph looked through these instruments and English words appeared to him. The translation tools included the interpreters, or Urim and Thummim, 2 clear stones set in a metal rim given to Joseph with the plates. This account portrays a divine process, but the historical reality is different. Why does the church say instruments included? Joseph never claimed to use anything other than the Urim and Thummim for translation. Joseph and Oliver asserted that Joseph would see the words appear in the stones, dictate them to Oliver, who would write them down and read them back to Joseph. If what Oliver wrote did not match the spectacles, he would correct it, or so we are told. However, 4 years after the Book of Mormon was published, E.D. Howe's Mormonism Unveiled revealed that Smith did not solely use the Urim and Thummim. He also used his infamous seer stone, the very same stone he stole from Willard Chase, used to search for Spanish treasure with Stowell in 1826, and was convicted for being a disorderly person. In the August 20, 1859, issue of the Millennial Star, Oliver Cowdery stated, "I wrote with my own pen the entire Book of Mormon, save a few pages, as it fell from the lips of the prophet Joseph Smith, as he translated it by the gift and power of God, by the means of the Urim and Thummim, or as it is called by that book, holy interpreters. I beheld with my eyes and handled with my hands the gold plates from which it was translated. I also saw with my eyes and handled with my hands the holy interpreters." Notably absent from Oliver's account is any mention of the seer stone, a critical tool in Joseph Smith's translation process, according to other sources. This omission raises questions. Were Joseph and Oliver trying to distance themselves from their pasts as scryers, given Oliver's history as a rod diviner and Joseph's use of a seer stone? Researchers and scholars suggest that Joseph and Oliver were collaborators in a larger scheme. The Joseph Smith Papers Project provides an illuminating account from Oliver at the 1831 General Conference. Brother Hiram Smith said that he thought best that the information of the coming forth of the Book of Mormon be related by Joseph himself to the elders present, that all might know for themselves. Brother Joseph Smith, Jr. said that it was not intended to tell the world all the particulars of the coming forth of the Book of Mormon, and also said that it was not expedient for him to relate these things in secret. This reluctance to disclose details further supports the theory of a deliberate effort to control the narrative and obscure the full story behind the Book of Mormon's creation. The Church now teaches, another instrument Joseph used was a seer stone that he would look into, often by placing it in a hat. Joseph had found this stone earlier and had used it to find hidden or lost things. He used both the interpreters and the seer stone as he translated, always relying on the inspiration of church leaders and historians have long been aware of the seer stone, yet they have kept this information from members. In a 1939 Improvement Era article, Robert P. Kirkman dismissed Martin Harris's statements on the seer stone. In the opinion of the writer, the prophet used no seer stone in translating the Book of Mormon. Neither did he translate in the manner described by David Whitmer and Martin Harris. The statements of both of these men are to be explained by the eagerness of old age to call upon a fading and uncertain memory for the details of events which still remained real and objective to them. Former president of the church, Joseph Fielding Smith, stated in 1956, "While the statement has been made by some writers that the prophet Joseph Smith used a seer stone part of the time in his translating of the record, and information points to the fact that he did have in his possession such a stone, yet there is no authentic statement in the history of the church which states that the use of such a stone was made in that translation. The information is all hearsay, and personally, I do not believe that this stone was used for this purpose. It may have been so, but it is so easy for a story of this kind to be circulated due to the fact that the prophet did possess a seer stone, which he may have used for some other purposes. We've established that the process for translating the Book of Mormon was no different than when Smith scribed for treasures. He used his seer stone, and the plates were never physically present with Martin Harris, despite his claims of seeing and hefting them. Harris later admitted that these experiences were with spiritual eyes, not physical ones. So, here we have Joseph and Oliver with a book resembling View of the Hebrews, and Joseph translating the claimed plates with his seer stone. What else can we expect from this dynamic duo? Conclusion. This episode sheds light on the hidden dynamics between Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery, suggesting a collaborative effort that extends beyond the official church history. Understanding these intricacies offers a more nuanced view of the origins of the Book of Mormon and the early LDS Church, challenging the conventional narrative and encouraging further investigation into these historical events. Next week, we will dive into the events that led Joseph Smith and his associates to relocate to Fayette, New York. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the untold history of the early LDS Church. Please watch for future videos, and thank you so kindly for watching. This is the Ex-Mormon Informant signing off for the day.